Thanks for tuning in to the Palm Beach Podcast, a weekly show highlighting people making a positive impact in our community. With your hosts, sports chiropractor and athletic trainer, Dr. James Spencer, photographer and art director, Mike Jones. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities in Delray Beach, and the Lotus Travel Company for retreats and tours in Palm Beach County. Hello, and welcome to the Palm Beach Podcast. My name is Mike Jones. I'm hanging out at Media Zone on Singer Island with some fantastic people who brought treats.
Yes.
Dr. James Spencer, how you doing today, buddy?
Pleasure to see you on this beautiful day today here in South Florida, Mike.
It is, and I think we have some special guests in the studio with us, right?
Fortunately, always we do. We got Teapots Treasures. Girls, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Trisha, one of the owners of Teapots Treasures.
And I'm Melissa. I'm one of their, general managers per se. I'm Trisha's daughter, and, we've kind of taken this on together, Teapots and Treasures.
So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about it, where it's located, and when you guys took it over?
We'll start with that one and then let Melissa go. And I also have my business partner, Francesca, who's not with us tonight.
Cheers, Francesca.
Cheers, Francesca. Yes, this one's for you. You should have done this for me instead. But anyway, so Francesca and I actually worked at Teapots and Treasures for the old owners as well as Melissa. And
cool.
We'd been there for at least 3 years for them. And then they decided it was time for them to move on, and we really didn't want to see it close. We loved what they created and knew we could move it forward to another chapter. So in the middle of a pandemic, Francesca and I decided to purchase it in July, and so far so good. We need to raise awareness, as everyone does, but we're located in Juno Beach on US 1, and
right by Donald Ross, right?
Yeah.
just north of Donald, right across from the Loggerhead Turtle Hospital, which usually draws a lot of people, but it hasn't lately. But yeah, so that's who we are, and we updated the menu, but our tradition of high tea is what people really love it for.
Yeah, I think also we have a good creative spin on it now with Barb. She had this very classy one-way high tea that people loved, but now every month we change our menus. So for the month of January, our little high tea setup includes your choice of a chicken salad that we change once in a while. And then we also have our mushroom duxelle.
Mm-hmm.
We have our BLT mini high tea sandwiches. And then
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
and we do a scone every month, a special one, which was Almond Joy this month.
Yes.
So everybody seemed to love that.
I'm getting hungry over here.
Yeah, we brought you a couple of our
Yes, a
fan
couple
favorites.
snacks.
What
Yeah.
are the goodies?
So we have our traditional orange cranberry that's been around for 20 years. That
Mm-hmm.
was the old owner's specialty. And then our new one, cinnamon raisin.
Ooh.
So enjoy.
And I
whatever
know
you
I
like.
did tell you, I have super high standards
You
because I
do.
lived in
So
a Commonwealth country
we'd
for 5
love
years.
to have your thoughts on those.
Yes.
And we have our wonderful Linda, one of our staff members who's been there forever too. She's in the back in the kitchen with me, who does all the high tea towers, pretties them up, and makes just the art of high tea come to life right there in Juneau.
She's
Because
one of the most.
You don't have to go to a Ritz-Carlton
Yeah.
to do it.
She's one of the most creative people I've ever met in my entire life. Even going through culinary school, this woman, every single day, she looks at me and goes like this: what cake can we do next? What high tea sandwich can we do next? It's when we make our January high tea sandwich menu, February is the next day is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So just continuous creativity that flows through the place is something that kind of keeps us going, even though through COVID, it gets a little tough. But that's what I've always told people is we have so much fun, no matter what the numbers are.
That's really cool. And like we were alluding to earlier, you're really trying to attack the younger population now too, right?
We are, yeah. There was a really older, and no disrespect, older following for the past owners. And what we've tried to do is kind of bring in the younger crowd. And I mean, not just their age, I mean, my age, moms, which, and then of course my business partner is only 22 and she's 20, almost 21. So we were trying to target college students that were home also, that could come in like a Starbucks, but a nicer setting, come do your homework, have some lunch. And then the moms, the 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds that weren't really coming there. So we've taken the decor down to a real elegant yet classy, kind of more young vibe. And like I said, the menu, we just keep switching it up and trying new things. Like We got a wine license, which is the
Mhm.
greatest addition.
It's
People want
definitely-
champagne or wine when
Yes,
they have
they
high
do.
tea.
Yes.
Definitely.
And then did Wine Down Wednesdays so we could have a little fun in the evening because we're only open 10 to 4. We can target the working people one night a week. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun.
I like how you create the exclusivity too from 10 to 4. It's not open all day. It's,
Yes. And
Yep.
actually one of the things that we've been targeting the most after having a really intimate staff meeting was, in the back of our minds, we didn't even know that we were doing this, but Miss Linda kind of told us this little story about when Queen Elizabeth was coming into Chicago late in the day, and they were calling hotel after hotel and saying, "What are you doing? The Queen is coming into town." They say, "Oh, we're doing construction, we're remodeling, we're making a suite dedicated just to her." And they eventually called a hotel specifically, I can't remember which one right now.
I can't remember either. It was a real fancy one in Chicago.
But they said nothing. We're not doing anything. We treat every single person that walks in this door like royalty already. We have nothing to change about ourselves.
Wow.
So for the past, week and a half, in the back of our minds, we've initially started thinking, oh, I sat down this customer, I've made an instant connection with them. And by the end of it, I realized that I've truly made them feel like royalty. And I think when I think to my generation, it's a bit more specific to that because, on the phones, it's, everyone starts to look the same and everyone's going for the same goal. How many followers can you get? And as students, like she said, I went to a Starbucks when I was at school. I'd go to, maybe a smaller coffee house, but I think we can offer something to people that don't normally get it. And that's that exclusivity, like you said, that royalty that is hard to come across nowadays.
I did the same thing when I was in chiropractic school. I wouldn't go to Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts.
Mhm.
I'd find that local trendy kind of
Yep.
hipster spot, and that was what I was attracted to.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I actually would find myself going there more frequently, not even just to study.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just someplace you can feel comfortable, relax, just exhale. I mean, we just want to make people feel comfortable.
And I like the quality over quantity model.
Mhm.
And I think we're starting to see a lot of our past guests, you got to treat yourself every now and then,
Yeah.
And so it's really nice. Like I can think of the Berman sisters, the Board Babes, Boozy Bluebell, these businesses, these ideas that people have where
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I want to have a fancy high tea every now and then and have like a really nice environment to relax, unwind, have a conversation, study.
Yep.
So I think like what's cool is that you guys are trying to mix it up a little bit, but still keep like the essence of
Exactly.
Right.
past
The
owners,
tradition and the tradition of just having high tea alone.
Yeah.
Obviously started England, Ireland, Scotland. Ours is a little bit more fun. Like I said, we used to do when she was in New York at school, we'd go down to the city and just spend the weekends when I'd come up and visit. And you can go into one major resort after another, one luxury, the Plaza, the Ritz, the Chesterfield, everything has high tea. And we've always done it. I've done it 3 times in Ireland. Every time we were in Ireland, I was like, okay, it's high tea time. And it's just a tradition. So for people that are local in Palm Beach County that can come have high tea without having to go, just say your Ritz-Carltons and get all fancy and pay, $100 a person, is what we were trying to incorporate. So far people have loved it. We do the traditional tea tower with the scones and the sandwiches and the desserts. And now, of course, you can have your glass of champagne. So
That's awesome.
A really fun thing about our high teas that Trish and I were, hanging out at, just at the dinner table one night when this whole thing started rolling, and we were like, okay, we need a menu for the high tea. How are we going to price it? How are we going to do it? And one of the first things that came to my mind was we need to have a high tea hierarchy. So our high teas are actually named, and by the price they go up to. So we start at the Charlotte, which is for the kids. Then we go to the Pippa, which is just a pot of tea and 2 scones. Then the Kate is a pot of tea, a scone, and
Like
sandwiches.
Middleton?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. I
And
see
then
it.
we go
into you getting the idea.
yeah, and then we get to the Diana, which is, full-blown scone, tea, soup, sandwiches, and then you hit the Elizabeth, which is where you get your dainty little glass of champagne, and that's the highest royalty you can get at Teapots and Treasures is when you order the Elizabeth.
We went with the royal names.
Hey.
We did. We left one out, but
I like it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
So and people have, I don't know if people have caught on to it actually, but some people are like, oh, I get it. You know, Queen Elizabeth, Princess Diana, and so, but anyway, it's been fun.
That's special. I want you to, because I think there's going to be a lot of listeners that can resonate. Like, you just did it during the pandemic. Like, you just kind of jumped all in, and there's some people that are very hesitant to make that leap of faith. What was it for you?
For me, I had made the decision that I wanted to purchase it prior to COVID hitting, but needed some time to finish some things up with my son, going to school and all that. And the old owners were, they're like, sure, we'll wait, because timing was good for them. It was good for me. And then COVID hit, and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Like,
Yeah, like, do you back out, or do you keep going?
Exactly.
Through
do I move forward with this and make something positive of it and just be hopeful that things are going to change? And at the time I was like, this can't last forever. I think what everybody else thought was like, oh, this will be gone in a few months. No one thought it was going to
2 weeks, right?
Right.
Oh,
Isn't
I
that what
left
they told
We had a
us?
shutdown for 2
I
weeks.
left everything at school. My car was at school.
Yeah.
All
Dorm,
my clothes,
everything.
my dorm.
We're like, oh, you'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Ridiculous.
And then of course the whole major shutdown, and the whole restaurants were closed for April, May. I can't even remember at this point. And basically it came down to, it was either going to close or I was going to buy it. And Francesca and I said, let's just do it. Let's just see what happens. And because it was a place that people loved as well as we did working there. And we knew the ideas we had, and we could bring them to fruition if we could just get through this pandemic. And so far, I mean, no, we're not where we need to be, but you can see an increase. People are starting to get comfortable. And I think I just live by everything happens for a reason. And we just went for it. So.
And it's been around for a long time.
Yeah. So she, Barb had it for 20 years, and it has a great name for itself. And now for us is trying to get it to the people who didn't know about it, even when she had it, because we did lose a lot of the older clientele because of COVID, that they're just not coming out.
I also think that the difference here is, Barb being a little bit older and, having that set round of customers, she never really fully reached out to the community. And with her being a huge part of the community, being around for so long, now we're kind of targeting that whole, I just did a whole little class day with Benjamin where we made 20 scones and 20 croissants for the kiddos to have, because they were learning about England. They sent us pictures.
Cool.
They had
a
cardboard cutout of the Queen.
That.
Exactly. And then now I'm reaching out and having a Valentine's Day fundraiser with DM Social Solutions, and I have targeted and marketed and hit every single local business that I could. I have Blue Line Surf in our silent auction and raffle. I have Josco Bar and Oven, 1000 North, and the list just Evo. The list goes
Float
on
Studio.
and
I mean,
on and
people
on.
have been very generous.
They have, and it's amazing to kind of see that basis of you say we're reaching out to Hearts for Moms, which is a local women's organization supporting young single moms so that they don't have to forfeit their children. And you see when you, even in a time like this, when you go up to a local company and you say, look, I'm doing this fundraiser for this amazing organization. It's going to be a super fun event. It's going to bring a sense of community with everybody. And, they, without hesitation, it was like, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll have a bag for you. I'll have a gift card for you. I'll have an experience for you by tomorrow. It's this community that I've yearned for us to become a part of. And now that we're hitting that, it's probably one of my most proud moments so far with Teapots and Treasures.
Well, let us know if we can donate.
Oh my,
some
we'd love
studio
that.
time.
That could be so
drone,
cool.
Whatever photo shoot.
Of course.
That
For
would be
someone
great.
filming photography.
We're going to have a bunch
anything.
of influencers at the event. So I think that's going to be a big hit. And then obviously with the smaller local companies that we have coming in, like our hairdresser from Galaxy Hair Design, Anne-Marie, even if it's just that one little step where a businesswoman comes in and says, oh, this could be really great exposure for me. Let me try and get into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, like, people probably used to go to see Barb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh yes.
Oh my goodness. Those
People
are the
still
best.
come in and look.
that's
for
like
her.
how it is.
Mhm.
Like with these like old school businesses, like
Yeah.
she probably had regulars that she saw
Oh,
every
she
Wednesday for 20 years or something.
Speaking of, and this
Oh, this is gonna be the
actually
best.
made our like entire week, month, year purpose for buying it. Barb had a customer, Miss Evelyn, and God
She's
love her.
near and dear to our heart.
She is the sassiest 90-year-old you'd ever know. I think her secret is she was never married.
She
I didn't
loves
say
to
that.
always tell us.
I didn't say that, but because I am married. But anyway,
Little tip.
of course, yeah, no marriage, no kids. Anyway, she, of course, we hadn't seen her since February, probably maybe January.
Maybe before that, yeah.
Because she was on oxygen, she's in her 90s. So we hadn't seen her because of COVID. Barb had reached out several times just to make sure she's okay. She's in an assisted living, but her niece would bring her, friends would bring her for lunch. So we've been in contact just through Barb that she's still okay. Yes, everything's good. She didn't get COVID. She's doing great. In she walks the other day for her 95th birthday.
Wow.
She came
That's
to
special.
have her lunch with us.
And it was the
Oh, so
biggest
cool.
treat.
It
Yeah.
No way.
was
Exactly.
Cool.
the coolest thing. We were like, oh my gosh, Evelyn's here.
She's
And
like our little queen. Like she's
our queen.
She is our little
Yeah.
queen, you know, and I wasn't even working that day, but I came in to do schoolwork and I saw her sitting there and I was like, oh my God, Evelyn is here.
Her niece brought her in,
yeah.
and we made her a high tea on us for her birthday.
Wow.
And
made her day.
She loved it. In fact, her niece sent us a beautiful handwritten note the next day on like how we made her birthday. And I'm like, no, she made our day.
That's
like,
so cool.
Just her 95 coming out to see us. So
and that's
it was
who
great.
we were waiting for the approval from, the stamp of approval. It was constantly, well, how is Evelyn going to like this?
We're
She
gonna pass the
comes
test.
back in
Exactly.
the kitchen. She sees what's going
Yeah.
on. So yeah, she gave
She's
us
sassy.
her mark.
She's sassy.
She
Yeah.
loves to make
So-
her mark. If she doesn't give you her opinion, then
I
don't
would
think
have
she
loved
really
to
cares
known
much.
her in her heyday because yeah, she'd probably tell you like it is.
That makes it special.
It
does.
really, yeah. For
Yeah.
us, that was it.
And that's the environment that you're trying to create, is that ma and pa home
Mhm.
home
Yeah.
feel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just something, low. There's not a lot of restaurants like that in our area. Of course, we're saturated with restaurants in Palm Beach County. We have great restaurants. We have our favorites that we always go to. But nothing like, we have a full lunch menu aside from high tea. So there's really nothing in the area other than maybe in West Palm there's one, and there was one in Stewart, but I think she closed. So just trying to stand out from, the rest
There's
of the little lunch places.
Not a lot of coffee shops and like
Mm-mm.
tea, cafe.
No.
Exactly. I mean, I
Like
know.
between Jupiter and West Palm Beach, there's really nothing but Starbucks
Right,
and
exactly.
Dunkin' Donuts.
There's
Yeah.
Perk up in Tequesta, and they're awesome. I've gone to
Yeah.
them for years, but I mean, past that, it's like, okay, maybe a couple, subculture, but even them, they're a pretty bigger brand, and having that, they have a lot of space, which is one of their big target markets.
Yeah.
So for us, having like a really open concept was really beneficial to
Cool.
us, even through COVID. Like
Yeah.
there is no, need to move tables for us because we already have that really bright and open space that we wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah.
What's the go-to tea there?
Almond
Mm.
fruit.
Almond fruit.
I wait and
I'm a
I do.
classic English breakfast. So
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
for me.
With
But
milk?
no,
I do milk,
just honey.
milk and honey.
No, okay, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wait up front, and I do work in the back, and everything in between. But every single time I set down a tea menu, my favorite thing to tell our customers is what my favorite tea is, and 8 out of 10 times they're going to order what I tell them that is what I prefer and what I drink on a daily basis. So I set down my menu and I say, look, if you're looking for a decaf, almond fruit is the best way to go. It is a really yummy and warm tea. It comes out bright pink too. So it's basically our
It's
pink
pretty.
drink.
It's like fun.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's
It's
our pink
so
drink.
fun. And then our white coconut cream, which are
Oh,
like
that
the
one's
two
good.
perfect spectrums of tea in our place. But one of the ones I've actually seen be more popular right now is our caramel biscotti, which is like a total like more chai, light red tea.
It's winter.
It is
Yeah,
winter.
exactly.
People
It
are
is cold
Seasonal.
out
people
there.
are wanting to get a little bit warmer. So I've always recommended, a little bit warmer of a tea for the weather, and our soup is really hearty. So I think people come in for that, moment of like a bundle up kind of thing because it gets so cold here in Florida
And
recently.
when it's hot, they can have
Ooh,
ice.
68 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, it's freezing out there right now.
It is. We
I
were
don't
walking
do
up like,
the
oh my
teas
gosh.
very often because I'm in the kitchen, so I don't really know what they're drinking.
I just
but,
make her tea at 2:00 on the dot.
Yeah.
She's got it in her hand. She's good
It's
to go
tea
for the
time
next
for
2
me.
hours.
I like that.
Gets me through the kitchen cleanup. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And it really is like a culture thing. I think
Mhm.
in America we've really on this go
Mhm.
instant gratification, order in advance, pick it up, I've got to go, I'm on
Mhm.
the phone while I'm at the register.
Right.
Where like I really did admire that about living in Australia, was that these people are fabulous at people watching and hanging out.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
nothing better to do than to sit and hang out with a friend for an hour and a half and have a
Mhm.
conversation.
Yep. And
So-
we've noticed that we'll have tables that sit for hours.
Yeah.
And they're just catching up or and just enjoying the downtime. Like you
Mhm.
said, all of our tea is loose leaf brewed. Like, you're not getting it
Cool.
unless you want it to go. Of course, we're not Starbucks. We're not, here's your tea and run.
Mhm.
Then you get it in a beautiful china
Yep.
teapot and a
Wow.
teacup. So yeah, they have time there to just sit back, relax, and
Mhm.
enjoy.
But I think it's funny you bring up the whole culture of it, because as much as we love to have people sit for 4 hours at a time, which I just recently had, and they're actually good friends of ours from when I was younger, they sat for almost 5 hours and just talked, and they ate their food so slowly, and I'm used to like going. But we even had to adjust that culture, so we're on Grubhub. So, that whole delivery service thing, it's, right when you get the order, you accept it and it has to be out the door within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's totally two ends of the spectrum here where we're trying to accommodate to such a, different environment. And even with COVID, that's
and we
kind
have
of
to
COVID
rely
culture.
on takeout too for the people who aren't still coming out. Takeout has been pretty good for us. So,
Mhm.
I mean, like I said, 10 to 4, Tuesday through Saturday. So we have a small window each day to kind of pack it in there. And then Sundays we reserve for private parties, which are finally starting to book again. We do
Yes.
baby showers, bridal showers,
Fun.
That's really
birthday
cool.
parties. And
Yeah.
then they have the whole restaurant to themselves. So they're starting to feel a bit more comfortable to come
Yeah.
on out and do that.
We actually have a 50-person party coming up on Sunday. Yeah. 50
Congratulations.
people.
Yeah.
Should
so
be a lot
we
of fun.
can- people keep getting married and having babies. So
Yeah.
that's what
I
we
sure
do.
hope so.
Welcome to the COVID life. It's 9 months out.
There's a lot of babies. So
Well, I think if
Um,
everyone's taking the right steps and being
Yeah.
safe, like we can all go sit and have a cup of tea together.
Exactly.
yeah.
So-
And our tables are still not right on top of one another, and so it's so far has worked out okay.
Mhm.
We're hoping for the whole vaccine to kick in and
Sure.
people really keep coming out.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately for Florida, we're kind of open, and
Yep.
who knows? We may have the Olympics here soon.
Okay.
Maybe.
Why not?
What, from
Exactly.
Japan or what? What's the deal? You got inside information over here?
Yeah, you
Super
didn't hear
Bowl's in
Where
Tampa.
are they going to
so-
ski? I mean, come on.
Ron DeSantis came out and said he'll host it here in Florida.
He'll
Oh
build
my
a snow mountain in 6 months.
Exactly.
Find
Yep.
some snow.
I'm sure Walt Disney can handle that.
Oh,
They
for
probably
sure.
could.
Yeah.
They'd come up with something.
If
Well, let's
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, let's give you ladies like a chance to share, like, how can we
Yeah.
find you online,
Oh yeah. You go ahead and do all this.
the
Yeah.
handles, the tags,
The
the
handles
websites.
and the tags, all that
There
fun
you go,
stuff.
miss.
So on Instagram, we are at Teapots and Treasures, just good and simple like that. But on Facebook, ours is different than the previous owners. So we are at Teapots and Treasures Cafe. And our label is Teapots and Treasures Juno, because if you tag the wrong one, then you're going to be sitting on a 20-year-old Facebook page. But those are our handles, and we're at our website is www.teapotsandtreasurescafe.com.
And all our menus are on
Yep.
there so people can see what we do. Yeah. So,
And
great.
who would you like to thank? Who's your who's on the list?
Everybody.
Yeah.
I've had a
That's
good
cool.
support team, which I've needed because I have kids and trying to run a business at the same time. So, of course, my business partner, Francesca, and our entire staff. We have Linda, Melissa, Rebecca, Emily. We have just a core
Exactly.
crew that has just been
And that's the best part.
spectacular.
All our staff,
And our
all
customers.
of our staff, of the 5 of us that are there. Emily is one of my best friends I've known since I was 4 years old, and we pulled her in. During COVID, she lost her job at school, so we pulled her in. My good friend Rebecca from high school, it was like, oh, okay, she was working at Starbucks for a while. That kind of was iffy, and I was like, come look at the tea shop, whatever. And now she has taken over the back of house for
Mhm.
us, and it has been an amazing ride. So having that really close personal connection, I think also pushes the business a little further. I mean, you get really big businesses and restaurants that are like, every single server there has done this 10 times over in 10 different places. And all of our girls this is their first restaurant job, and they have fallen in love with it, and they have their regulars now too. So it's that culture again that makes everyone feel special.
Yeah, we need to thank you guys too. For
Exactly.
having us on.
Exactly,
This has been
yes.
fun.
Well, and thank you guys for these.
Well, and
I
enjoy,
know.
and thank you you calmed me down a bit. I will say.
A little liquid courage, and of course, like a glass of water for you
It-
because
it's some water.
Gets a little parched after talking for a while.
It's
So
tough.
cheers to that. Yes.
And
Cheers to you
yeah,
guys.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for joining us on the podcast, and let us know about
Cheers.
your event because we
Yeah.
would love to chip
Oh,
in.
Yes.
absolutely. Yeah. Galentine's. We'll give you some more information on it
Yes.
because hey,
It's in
it's for a great cause.
Yeah, it's a little RSVP event that's going on February 11th, which is a Thursday from 6 to 8. And if you did want to place with it with a couple of your friends, you could always DM us at Teapots and Treasures. I am normally in there pretty often, or at DM Social Solutions too. And if you are a local business in the area as well, reach out to us if you want to get into the raffle, silent auction. We're always looking for something fun to throw in.
Shout out to Danielle.
Yes,
tell
Danielle.
her thank
Little
you.
Dan-
Our girl,
Yeah.
she told me about you guys at first, and then I saw her podcast. I was like, okay, I need to do this like right now. We need this like fun little energy in a little space where we can kind of be comfortable in this relaxed setting. I mean, we had a magazine article come out for Teapots and
Oh,
Treasures
yeah,
in
that's
Jupiter
right. We were
Magazine.
in Jupiter Magazine.
Sweet.
Mark
But, like,
Congratulations.
exactly,
Yeah,
thank
he
you.
did
But
a
like
great article.
having this personability where you can sit down and talk to someone and like let that be your exposure and like build a great connection in the community is something that you cannot top at all.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I have a few patients that are going to be encouraged by this podcast.
Oh,
So thank
interesting.
you for
Wait,
that.
you're
Thank
a
you.
doctor. That's right. Chiropractor.
Don't worry about me.
No.
But yes, they will be encouraged to hear this.
Awesome.
So
And
Thank you.
And I'll come have a teapot with Mom because
Yes.
I know Mom loves like loose leaf
And you
tea
can compare
and
it to
scones and
Australia.
stuff.
You'll
your
give us a
time
little
there.
feedback. Maybe we'll make even like a little forum for you where it's like, okay, how does this compare to Australia?
You can give us some
Well,
tips.
Which one's better than the other?
I want to come for Wind Down Wednesdays too. You know,
Totally.
like,
So
so
you'll
maybe I
have
gotta
to
come
do
twice.
both.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You'll have to come twice.
Do you have a
Yes.
frequent flyer card?
We'll hook you up. Don't worry.
Thank
We need to
you.
start doing some coupon cards for the Wind Down Wednesdays.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Of
And,
course, thank you.
Cheers,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Cheers.
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Palm Beach Podcast. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities in Delray Beach, and the Lotus Travel Company for retreats and tours in Palm Beach County.